Today we're going to show you step by step how to make a speaker grill. This one is for the passenger side, so we're going to make it for this driver's side speaker pod. That doesn't go there. So as you can see, they mirror each other, but this will kind of give you an idea of what we're doing. So first we're going to start with our aluminum trim we buy, and we're going to run this through the polisher real quick because it's a lot easier to polish before it's bent than while it's straight than after it's bent. This piece here, this piece of wood, is the blank that came out of this piece. So this started out as a full piece, and then I cut this trim piece out, and then it had, so then it was this big, and then this was around there. So I trimmed that a little bit more. The trim's just over 3/8 of an inch thick, so I trimmed that plus a little extra to give you some room for the leather material that will wrap this. And then now we have a fixture we can bend the trim around. So we're just going to pop it into here. And then we're going to let a little overhang so that we can bend it for the waterfall section of it, which on the other side is pretty small, but this side's going to be a little bit bigger. So we'll go 4.5. So this aluminum is really soft, it bends pretty easily, and then this piece holds it in place. So if I was going to do a lot of them, I'd probably make a better fixture, but this will work plenty good for one piece. Got our piece. It's been pretty tight around here. There's a couple spots we'll have to kind of straighten out, but it'll work. It's pretty dang close for what we need. So now on the one that we've already done, it has an aluminum backer here that the trim screws to, and it accepts the grommets where it's all kind of plugs into. So we're going to cut that piece out from a 60 thousandths thick aluminum. Now we got some little pieces left over, we'll just buzz them around the bandsaw. fab. That's what we're going to use to install these. So I'll tighten them up with the Allen later when we're all done. So one side accepts the rubber grommet, and then the other side is these lugs. And they just kind of just push on there. That's kind of where the piece will sit on there. So now I can go through and kind of refine the gap of it. That way the trim fits nice and snug. Brady's rap music over there. He thinks he's a gangsta. He's really just a wingsta. All done? got that rap shit on again?
Yeah, it's West Coast.
He's so not West Coast though. Just because he wears black shirts with white print on him, thinks he's West Coast. This is going to be our stamp for the aluminum mesh. So this is the male piece that's getting glued to this base right now. We gotta wait for the glue to dry. And I'll come in here and drill some locating holes in this as the glue dries. And then it will glue this top piece to this, and then it'll make like a big sandwich. So we'll put the material in there and cinch it all down, and it'll come out nice and cool and stamped. So we got our stamp piece main. So this is the male section, and we put the mesh in the middle, and then it kind of just presses like that. So on this mesh, this stuff is, some is cut and some is stamped. So you got to look to see what you're working with. So this one's smoother on one side than it is on the other. So you want to make sure the smooth side goes out. So we'll line that up there, and then you just kind of want to watch where the top line is and make sure that it looks good in the mesh, so it's not all crooked looking. And then once you get a spot, then you can drill out these locating holes, which is kind of hard on the mesh. We can just take and snip off some of the pieces when they don't go very good. Square, so you put this piece on there. So now we got our piece, our assembly here, so when we squeeze it together, it'll stamp the mesh. So, if you don't have a press, a vise will work. If I had a press probably was going to work a little bit better. So the bad part is on doing such a big piece and a vise, you're going to have to use some clamps to kind of even it out a bit. it out. There is our piece. So it has the stamp all the way around it. There's a little distortion over here on the edges, but that's not a big deal because it's gonna get the trim around it anyways. Mesh piece here. backing piece, got our aluminum mesh, and our aluminum trim. So now we got the aluminum mesh is easy. You can just bend that right over like that. That's not hard at all. So the trim is a little more hard. So we got a Baileigh bender. Now this isn't necessarily the application for this bender or the correct kind of thing, but I did the other side and it worked pretty dang good. So. Backer all waterfalled. So this piece here doesn't fit in the bender, so we kind of gotta do this one the old-fashioned way. And then we just trim all this down. Idea what it's going to look like here. So there's our fiberglass pod and then our grill. Now we'll trim this off here so that it doesn't hit anything in the truck. Alright, so we got our finished speaker grill, the trim. I touched up the polishing on it, painted the backing piece. So now we'll put that puppy on there, pop it into place. It's kind of hard to line it up because it's dark, but you can kind of feel it go in and pop into place. There you have it. That's how to make a speaker grill.